I can't wait to debate the guy.
Ooh, I can't wait. JD gonna tear your ass up. No diddy. No diddy. Sorry. See, you gotta scratch your head.
That is if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So,
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Y'all wanna know something?
you see what I did there?
So that couch joke was some made up joke online. Someone made a joke up online, said JD Vance F the couch. So that's what that joke was.
I was seeing that. I just
wanted
didn't
to
know
point that
what
out.
they were
That's
talking
pretty-
about.
That's a pretty low blow from this guy. I want you guys to know that this guy's 60 years old. He's the same age as Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt does not look nothing like him. He looks like shit. How do you look this bad at 60?
Kamala Harris picks Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as running mate.
What does Walz bring to this?
He's cuddly. And cuddly.
Cuddly.
I think she went for maybe a little more of a
It tells more about the texture of the man. He seems to almost have a twinkle in his eye.
Tim Walz is the opposite of weird.
Tim Walz beats America.
He sounds like
weird.
a football coach.
He's a hunter that you could visit with at the hardware store. In a dictionary, if you had weird and anti-weird, you'd have Tim Walz's picture there. I bet knows how to make a good hot dish casserole.
Very down to earth.
It's his authenticity.
Authentic communicator.
The word
Authentic.
joy came up a lot.
He's joyful.
He seems happy.
A happy-go-lucky warrior.
And he's happy and a happy warrior.
The joyful warrior.
He is one happy warrior.
A happy warrior.
The happy warrior.
Nice guy.
Good guy.
A very nice person,
Reliable.
definitely affable.
He is an extremely affable individual.
Very affable, plain-speaking way of folksy
They got the same
vibes.
writers?
Folksy idea.
Terrific vibe.
Vibes election.
Kind of a folksy guy. The idea that Tim Walz is some lefty is just not true.
I don't think either of them are
Some
Bernie
lefty.
Sanders progressive. A rather safe pick.
I think a safe pick.
Tampon.
Safe
Now,
choice. This is a
Bernie
do no
Sanders-
harm pick. Do no harm.
He's just more of a vanilla pick. It's a younger version of Joe Biden.
We got Brad Summer. We've got coconut tree memes.
There's joy in the Democratic Party right now.
Those outside of Pittsburgh loves Tim Walz.
Oh
Wow.
my God! If a fake Ramaswamy got a hold of Tim Walz.
They said he's the opposite of weird. A guy who
Tampon.
put tampons in the men's bathroom is the opposite of weird. Wow.
So hold up. So they got men.
They said
That's you.
They said he's
If I was
not.
them, I would do my best to avoid that word.
They said he's not progressive like Bernie Sanders, but he advocated for illegal immigrants to get free college.
Chill out, bro.
That's a fact.
Former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is here. How does this pick change the dynamic of this race, Vivek?
The reality is, to be totally frank, the last few weeks have not been our best, Jesse. This gives us the reset that we needed. This is a gift from on high from the Democratic Party. It is also a lens into how Kamala Harris will govern. Unlike a lot of other people, I don't think Kamala Harris is particularly ideological. I don't think she has far-left ideology. I don't think she has any ideology. But it shows how she's going to buckle to pressure, because this was the first presidential-style decision that she had before her. Do you want a governing agenda of a centrist who I disagree with on a lot of things, but Josh Shapiro, or do you want to buckle to the cave of pressure from the radical left? She made the choice. And so I think this is our best lens to see how she's actually going to govern. The reality is the vice president is far less relevant. He's not going to be the one setting policy. The reason I actually find this decision fascinating is it gives us a lens into the way Kamala Harris makes decisions. And the reality is she buckles to the person who ultimately puts the most pressure on her. That's what we learned today. This is a gift. It resets the race. And I think we are on path back yet, once again, to a victory, because Pennsylvania could back again be in play for Republicans.
Yeah, you're right. Shapiro definitely was going to help with Pennsylvania. He doesn't help anywhere. They say he helps with the Midwestern white man. Are they going to buy this guy that wants to give boys tampons in fourth grade?
The reality is this is a guy they're pitching in completely the wrong way as some type of Midwestern unifier. First of all, you can't be the unifier while also leading the charge on calling 70+ million Americans weird in his term. And the reality is we have a much stronger case in return if we want to play that game. Boys versus girls, can't define the difference. Boys competing with girls in women's sports competitions, even taking away your gas stoves. He's actually been one of the greatest climate alarmist governors in the United States on the left or the right. So if we wanted to level that charge in return, we have a stronger case. But the reality is he can't be a unifier, but also somebody who's alienating 70 plus million Americans as just plain weird, as he calls it. The other thing is it's just one Potemkin village of identity politics, Jesse. The Democrats, it's almost as they don't look at the actual content of the candidates they put up. They realized it had to be a black woman in the vice presidency, now the presidency. That's exactly the reason Kamala got her job. But having checked that box, now they need to revert the other direction, right? Which is a Midwestern, folksy, white guy of a regular type. And the reality is when they stop giving positions out on the basis of merit and start using these group quotas in either direction, they end up with the worst of all worlds, and that's what this ticket represents.
The Minneapolis riots, that's going to be front and center in this campaign. It's going to be about the economy. But remember in that summer what happened. He let that city burn. He let it burn and then blamed America for the fact that it burned. Why would she pick someone like that on the ticket? Why?
Well, the fact of the matter is she wasn't making a sound decision, but there's three issues that matter in this election, Jesse. Immigration, economy, crime. On economy, he raised taxes, shows you what he thinks about economic growth. On immigration, he wants to build a ladder over the border wall and give free health care and taxpayer-funded subsidies to migrants. And on crime, that's really where the George Floyd riots come in. This is not turning America into St. Paul or Minneapolis. That's what they want to do. We say no. We have a clear choice to do it in the ballot box in November. And I think this is now our race to lose. Let's step up, focus on our agenda, and if we do, we win this thing once again.
You're right about the Democrat machine. They have decided to run crazy San Francisco and burning Minneapolis against Donald Trump. And that is just... that's not going to work out.
I would have loved to see Vivek on the ticket.
Man,
he would have dismantled this crap.
I'll never let that go.
Now, I think J.D. Vance will do a good job as well.
Yeah.
But I do think that the reason Vivek wasn't chosen is probably because he has no government experience. Because if he did, they'd be in some trouble.
Yeah.
His just way to articulate the truth is just, it's undeniable.
You can't argue with them.
Undeniable.
He's back again to wage a public war of words against Tim Walz.
He abandoned us, I mean, what the hell kind of leader does that? I mean, he just, as soon as the shots were fired in Iraq, he turned and ran the other way and hung his hat up and quit.
We'll get to Barron's new message for voters in a moment. But this all starts years earlier when Barron says Walz's misleading statements about his military service first led him to come forward in the fall of 2018.
So you try to get this message out, but Minnesota's largest newspaper checks it out, says it's 100% true, but yet refuses to print.
When I hung the phone up, I said, what the hell is this, North Korea?
Back in 2005, a warning order went out to the 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery to mobilize for a mission to Iraq. At the time, Walz served as the unit's highest non-commissioned officer, but months later, Walz would retire from the Guard, avoid the deployment, and run for Congress. Tom Behrens was next in line for the position and was asked to take his place.
I was like, well, for Pete's sake, if this guy quit, and if I say I'm not going to do it, I mean, what the hell kind of leadership is that? If a company would say that we're going to deploy to Iraq or somewhere and you're going to be gone for whatever amount of time, and then the foreman just says, no, I'm not going. I mean, what does that say to the 500 people that work in that factory?
Behrens would go on to serve in Iraq on a nearly 2-year deployment as a command sergeant major. All while Walz began using that title as a congressman. Behrens says he first contacted Walz with his concerns, sending these letters to Washington. They all went unanswered.
But then we fast forward to the election in 2018 in Minnesota, and you try at that time to get people's attention with this story and also with what seems to be a very misleading statement that he continued to make about his service.
It kind of just sat there, when he was a congressman, he bragged that he was a command sergeant, retired command sergeant major. I'm the highest ranking person ever in the House, and all this lie that he was telling. The state of Minnesota came out after 2018, after this was exposed, and they said, well, he can say that he served as a command sergeant major, but he can't say he's a retired one because he's not.
And that's what he was saying.
And he was saying that, and there was lots of public, lots of cards coming in the mail, for him to be elected. They said right on there he's a retired command sergeant major, just tooting his own horn, just hanging on the coattails of people that actually are command sergeant majors that went through all the process and put all the time in.
A spokesperson for the Minnesota National Guard said Walz wasn't able to retire as a command sergeant major since he failed to complete coursework and requirements related to the rank. Verified documents show the Army corrected his service record. Walz was reduced in rank to an E8 Master Sergeant after retirement and his conditional promotion. Alpha News again asked Governor Walz if he's using the Command Sergeant Major rank on his campaign website for political gain this year. A spokesperson said this has been in the news before and pointed us to a past story where Walz said, quote, "Normally this type of partisan political attack only comes from one who's never worn a uniform."
It's stolen valor is really what it is. I don't know of anybody else that's done what he's done. But we called it The Truth About Tim Walz.
In 2018, Barron's gave the story the full court press.
We, retired Command Sergeant Majors of the Minnesota National Guard, feel it is our duty and responsibility to bring forth the truth as we know it concerning his service record. I put together information on it and I sent it out to every single radio station and newspaper and TV station I could in the state. The bottom line in all of this is gut-wrenching and sad to explain. When the nation called, he quit.
Hope woke up like many of you did 5 weeks ago and said, "Dad, you're the only person I know who's in elected office. You need to stop what's happening with this." I'll take my kick in the butt for the NRA. I spent 25 years in the Army and I hunt. And I gave the money back, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
No reciprocal carry means if you have a concealed there in another state, you can't bring it there. A lot of states have reciprocity. Like if you have a concealed license in Oklahoma, you could take it to like here, you could take it to Louisiana, you get reciprocity. So that would be a state where you wouldn't get reciprocity.
Hold on, so he avoided
he's
war.
lying about valor, bro.
He avoided war.
You can't lie about that.
Actually, I was a little nervous when they said he was a military guy. I said, "Oh shit, they might got somebody."
He was capped.
Even though I seen all the
he was a school teacher, military guy, Midwestern, Home Depot type dude.
He probably was doing the same stuff my mama
was doing when she was deployed. She was on the base, probably just doing insurance.
So this man gave up on America when America needed him most.
He heard it was time to get to action.
You think he's gonna do
I won't even get on him so bad for that because every man ain't cut.
They said he went though.
Yeah,
but to cap about it after.
Yeah.
Now that
he could have just kept it on.
Can't respect that.
Keep it on. But man, I was finna get out there, man. But them bullets got the flying, and man, that wasn't for me.
But don't cap on JD though. When JD was really in there,
man, he ain't no real shooter for real. I was a real shooter. That's what he said.
Hey, we're talking about a guy that was in the National Guard versus a guy that was a freaking Marine. It's levels to this shit. Yeah. And I'm not disrespecting no National Guard out there.
When we met Wesley,
no disrespect.
You could tell he was the way he shook
no
your hand.
Disrespect. We're talking about a guy.
Wesley Hunt shook my hand so damn hard. I done met some strong people. He shook my hand so hard. I was like, shit. I was squeezing as hard as I could. Man. I was like, but he probably wasn't feeling it though. He looked like he wasn't feeling it at all. He just looking at me. I was like, ah!
You know what I just did to light-skinned niggas in that field?
You too. Hey, not me.
Hey,
I ain't like
said
you colorful out there.
I ain't want to do nothing but Wesley. I ain't want to run Wesley no type of way.